History has a problem. We know what happened in history in our past. We know the battles, the kings, the dates. But what we almost never know is who write it down. Think about the Epic of Gilgamesh. Who write? We don't know. The Vedas, the writer of that book, we don't know. It's anonymous. The pyramids, we know the Pavada, but who designed them? We don't know. For the vast majority of human history, the writer was invisible, just a scribe, a human photocopier. But then comes around 2300 BC in the ancient city of Ur, which is near the modern city of Nasiriyah in southern Iraq. Someone decided to break this whole silence of 2000 years. She didn't just write a hymn, she write I am the high priestess. I entered the holy places. I cried out. She is the first person in the entire history of human species to sign her name to a piece of a literature. And she wasn't a king, she was not a warrior, she was a simple woman. Yes, and she was also not belongs to a royal family. Welcome back, guys. In the last episode we watched Sargon of Akkad do the impossible. He took a bunch of warring city-states in Mesopotamia and forced them into the world's first empire. He had the standing army, he had the military genius, he had the terrifying reputation. But Sargon, he was smart enough to know that you can't rule an empire with just a bow and arrow. So here was a problem he was facing now. In the south, the Sumerians were living, and they was old, they were much sophisticated, and they were stubborn also, and they officially speak Sumerian language. And in the north was Akkad, was a new, aggressive, and wild civilization, and they spoke only Akkadian language. The Sumerians hated being ruled by northern barbarians. So, like every time Sargon turned his back, a city would revolt. He was playing whack-a-mole with rebellions, and then he realized, like, wait, if he wanted his empire to last, he didn't need another general. He needed a personal manager who can look after these things. So he needed someone to bring the gap between, you can say, two completely different cultures. So he turned to his daughter. Her name was, in various history books, his name was Enheduanna. Now, Enheduanna is actually a title, and it translates roughly to the high priestess or the ornament of heaven. So Sargon takes her daughter and sends her to the most important city in the south, which was Ur. And in the south, as we already know, Sumerians were living. Ur was the Vatican City of the ancient world, and it was the center of religion also. By placing his daughter there as the high priest of the moon god, which they call Nanna, Sargon was sending a clear message: my family is now in charge of your gods. It was a brilliant political move. But and Dwana, she did something even smarter. So what she did smarter? So that's what when she started a rebranding campaign. See, the Sumerians at that time basically worshipped Inanna, the goddess of love and war, and the Akkadians worship at that time Ishtar, who was basically, you can say, the same goddess just with a different name and flower. So they were like worshipping the same god, but their names were different. So that was just a confusion at that time. So then what happened? Her daughter looked at this and said, why are we fighting over this even when we have so much common similarity? We are worshipping the same God. She wrote at that time hymns that merged these two things. She basically said, Inanna is Ishtar and Ishtar is Inanna. So they are the same. So this is called religious syncretism. It's like, imagine if a company bought another company, and instead of firing everyone, they just said, hey, why not we are all on the same team now? Look at our new combined logo. It will help us glue the empire together. But it wasn't all smooth sailing because, as we know, and in the ancient history books, in they said in ancient politics, when the king is away, the rats come out to play or to come out to play to overthrow the king or the empire. So while Sargon was busy fighting wars elsewhere, a Sumerian rebel named Lugale Ane seized power in Ur. He just didn't want the city. He wanted to break the spirit of the empire into two halves. He marched into the temple, confronted the king daughter, and kicked her out of the temple and the empire. He literally cast her into the desert. Imagine now that fall from grace, and one day you are the ornament of the heaven, the most powerful woman in the world. The next you are refugee. So that's what happens. And now Enheduanna is homeless and she is alone. And this is the exact moment where Duana changes history. She didn't give up like how today Generation Z will, just like, or the girls or the women will give up. She didn't just wait for her dad to come and save her. She sat down and she wrote this thing. She wrote a beautiful poem, The Exaltation of Inanna, and unlike every other boring list of grain shipments, or at that time you can say royal decrees from that time, this was, you can say, a personal touch. She added a personal touch in that. So listen to her actual words. So he has turned that temple into a house of silence. He stripped me of the crown. The light was darkened for me. The shadows approached the light of day. Yes, that's were the some words from his her poem. She pleads with the goddess Inanna to destroy the whole rebel Lugwaleane and his army. She then writes, make him know that you are supreme. This isn't just a prayer, it's a war cry. It is the first time in history we hear a human voice expressing personal pain, grief, anger, and hope. It's an autobiography which was written in the code. And do you know it even worked? The rebellion was crushed. Her daughter was restored to her temple, but her legacy wasn't just political survival. Because of her, the language even changed. Because before this time, the high culture was all the Sumerians, but Enheduanna helped make Akkadian her father's language, which was a new standard at that time. So after the whole this event happens, then Enheduanna held her position for 40 years. She outlived her father, Sargon. She even held the empire together for her brothers. Her hymns were so good, so majestic, so powerful that people kept copying them from centuries even after she died. And in the ancient schools, students would copy the exaltation of Inanna to learn like how to write. So she was the, you can say, the Shakespeare of ancient Mesopotamia. So the next time someone tells you that history is a manuals, tell them about the woman who told the world how to even write I, which is me. So Sargon built the body of the empire, but Anduana, she gave it a soul. But you can see souls can be corrupted, and Anduana and Sargon built something incredible. But after the successors, Sargon's grandson would take that power and let it go to his head. He was like he wouldn't be just satisfied with being a king, and he wanted to be a god, and he wants the people to worship himself, and he developed some sort of ego at that time. So that's the most disturbing part, when you are not being humble and you are not being loyal to your uh, people of the country, or of the empire. So after Sargons and her daughter, their empire like starts to tremble, and their downfall just started. So now in the next upcoming video, we will be discussing about the man who challenged the gods and who also doomed the world, and we will discuss the rise of Naram Sin. So stay tuned for upcoming video, and please subscribe, like, and share, because it takes much time to get all this information and share with you. So yeah, that's it for today. Have a great day. Take care. Bye bye.